was actually kind of afraid of this question because it's been a very strange summer, right? If you follow my cycle logic, which I've been talking about for a while, we transitioned from crypto spring to crypto summer on June 15th. And, many people, when they hear crypto summer, are like, oh, good, that's the big up. Well, actually, no, that's crypto fall. So crypto fall, that period kind of right after the halving is when you get the really big parabolic moves. Crypto summer is kind of a funky period. It's generally upward trending, although very slight. And in fact, a couple of the cycles have been pretty flat-ish. They're still generally up.
If you've been following crypto markets in 2023, the price action over the last few months has been strange. After hitting a 2023 yearly high in July, Bitcoin and crypto has been trending down despite what seems like constant good news. So what is going on? Is the market being manipulated? In his latest interview, Yusko broke it all down. He thinks something is wrong. Although not certain, he believes a major reason could be big players like BlackRock and other asset managers pushing the price down with the ultimate goal to accumulate a larger position. How would they do this? By going short Bitcoin. By shorting an asset in large quantities, it can increase selling pressure, helping to drive down the price. Although just a theory, Mark believes it would be the obvious thing to do if they were certain of a coming ETF approval. Short the asset, push the price down and accumulate as much as possible and then profit all the way up. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video where Yusko lays out his crypto market outlook. Also guys, I have just launched a daily 5-minute crypto newsletter. I was so sick of seeing people charge hundreds to thousands of dollars per month for on-chain crypto data and breakdowns. So to give out as much value to you as possible, I'm sending out a 5-minute daily newsletter which will cover expert predictions, breakdowns of on-chain crypto data, and any breaking news that you need to know all in a nutshell. And my promise to you is it will be completely free forever. Click the first link in my description, enter your email to join over 5,000 others in becoming a better crypto investor right now. If you don't like it, I will personally send you $1 whole, so you literally have nothing to lose. Now here's Mark Yusko with his Bitcoin manipulation theory.
Or I've been positively inclined. We've been making higher highs and higher lows. So again, the trend is generally up, but this latest move down in Bitcoin sub 26 is starting to get close to that previous low, which look, if we break that, the trend changes and I don't like that. So to your point, things are looking depressed. Other than hash rate still really strong, transaction volumes are okay, but the buzz is definitely down. You don't hear people talking as much about it. Maybe that's just the revamp of Twitter. I'm not going to call it X, by the way. And, engagement's down everywhere and people aren't really going there as much. I find myself spending more time on LinkedIn, actually, which is interesting. So that's a long rambling answer to say summertime is normally, actual physical summer is normally a time of lower volatility and lower volumes because people are out. And I think that was true again this year. Now, the difference between traditional markets and digital asset markets, regular markets, when people are away, things just shut down because, the markets are closed more hours than they're open. In the digital world, people can trade anywhere. So in theory, even if you're on vacation, you got your phone with you, you can still be active. But I just feel like there was a lull. Yet we've had some meaningful positive announcements. I think we'll talk about some of them, but generally this is a meandering time kind of approaching the halving next spring. Liquidity drives market. And I've said that for forever and it's really true. And particularly in digital space, particularly, take something like Bitcoin, right? One Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin, always will. And it eventually, we all hope, becomes a unit of account the way we think about value, but that's not what people talk about, right? They talk about Bitcoin in something else, in dollars, usually. That's the number most of us talk about. But if you're in Argentina, you're talking about it in pesos, and that's, making new highs lately because the peso's in the toilet. If you're in Argentina, you're talking about it in bolivars, or in Turkey, you're talking about it in lira, all of which are down, those are down. So Bitcoin in those currencies is up, but the rate of change of dollar growth has slowed. And therefore, you think about it, right before the pandemic, we were in that $14,000, $15,000 range. They doubled the money supply. So we should be kind of in the 28-ish range. range, and we're kind of in the 26 range. So it's kind of where we should be if we think about it in Bitcoin per dollar. So in the absence of a lot of monetary stimulus, there's not a lot of translation change that's going to happen. So I think that's certainly part of it, and that leads to some malaise. Most of the stimulus in the economy is shifted to fiscal, right? Government's still spending like drunken sailor. Actually, I'm not sure a drunken sailor could spend nearly as well as our government, but they pumped $1 trillion into the economy to kind of give us this boost that we thought, yet, if you ask people how they're feeling about the economy, people are jumping up and down, right? Everybody knows somebody who lost their job or got laid off. Spending, while other than Taylor Swift tickets, spending is kind of muted. I mean, it's not rambunctious. So I think macro is medium and maybe even leaning toward downward, as people think of, I retweeted something today. I'm still gonna call them tweets too. I'm not sure what else we would call them, but
reposts.
Oh, it's a repost.
The most generic name ever.
Yeah, X post, yeah, repost, all right. But I retweeted something that basically said bankruptcies were soaring. Like, is bankruptcy a synonym for strength? Haha. I mean, if bankruptcies are hitting all-time highs, that's usually not a really good thing. There's bank challenges, traditional banking challenges with the losses in their fixed income books. Fixed income markets are on pace to have their second negative year, which I think would be the first time in history of two back-to-back negative years in fixed income. So that's troubling a little bit. So it's just a very interesting time to be an investor, that's for sure. Something's wrong, and I can't put my finger on it. And, do you think it's something going on with Binance or Binance, depending on which part of the world you're from? Do you think it's some big person unloading? To your point about insiders buying and insider selling, if your goal is to accumulate an asset, you actually don't go out and buy the asset and tell everybody you're buying. What the really smart investors have done over the years is they actually go out and short a little bit of the asset and then tell everybody how crappy the asset is in interviews and stuff, and then go buy it when the price goes down. So again, if you were somebody who was on the verge of being approved for an ETF and you were going to take massive share and you wanted to buy the asset cheap, and maybe you even wanted to put some of your own money in there too, you might be contributing to downward pressure in the short run. So yeah, I think there definitely could be a little bit of that. And so I would say it probably wasn't BlackRock or others buying that was pushing. It was, people looking at the FTX now being in the rearview mirror and people getting back to fundamentals and saying, all the selling that was going to happen happened, and all of the liquidations from leverage happened, when they kind of put Binance in the corner. I still think BlackRock's going to be the first one approved. When, that's another question we can probably talk about, but I still think they're going to be the first one approved. And I still think somewhere, and this is the part that I'm struggling with, there's somebody or some buddies who are selling. And one of the challenges of Bitcoin in particular is pretty closely held, right? Not that much of the total market cap actually changes hands on a day-to-day basis. So the free float, so to speak, is pretty low relative to the overall market cap. And so the fact that somebody or somebodies are still selling, because again, for every buyer there's a seller, I'm just not quite sure where that's coming from, because I would have thought most of the levered longs had already been liquidated, in margin calls a year ago.
So there's Mark Yusko on if Bitcoin could potentially be being manipulated. Could the big players really be orchestrating this dip to position themselves advantageously for a bull run post an ETF approval? It certainly gives us a lot to think about. As we navigate these perplexing times in the crypto market, theories like these encourage us to stay vigilant and informed. Remember, a well-informed investor is a successful investor. And to stay informed, consider subscribing to our channel where we constantly bring you insights and analysis from experts like Yusko. Before we sign off, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this matter. Do you think there's manipulation at play, or is there another reason behind the market's unexpected behavior? Share your views in the comment section below and let's get a conversation started. Anyway guys, hope you all enjoyed today's video and that provided you with some value. I'll see you all in the next one, and as always, all the best.